Here, we'll call this meeting to order. It's a special meeting. Y'all can sit down. You shouldn't even had to rise in the first place. Appreciate you being here this morning. Want to recognize former Commissioner Steve Renfro. Steve, thank you for being here this morning. Your time on the commission was instrumental in helping us get to where we are today on passing this rule, and so appreciate you taking time to be here. So we'll call this meeting to order. There are no. Yes, sir, Commissioner Britton.
And I certainly want to, it's good to see you, Commissioner Renfro. You were very good and gracious to me as we moved over, and quite honestly, your actions did help us to get here today on this IRP ruling. And as a separate note, I would like to almost congratulate Chairman Presley, because he is now the president of NARUC.
Oh, thank y'all. That's That may be a bad sign, bad sign.
We'll say good.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton, appreciate that. All right, we have no items on the energy agenda, none on telecom, none on water. Administrative agenda item 1 is action regarding the amendment to the utility worker appreciation resolution. Very simple. We left out a line in there that the commission will recognize the month of April as utility worker appreciation month, just so in case the legislature, nobody does it, we'll have that as an in-house agency rule just to highlight the work of our utility workers. So do we have a motion to approve that amendment?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, moving now to item 2, discussion and possible action regarding proposed order in docket number 2018 AD 64. As most people are aware, this docket was opened in May of 2018. Over the last 18 months, a total of 4 rounds of written comments from interested parties, 2 of which pertain specifically to drafts of a proposed rule, have been conducted. The commission also granted an additional 10 days on its November 7th public hearing, where we took comments on the rule, giving interested parties an opportunity to provide comments on the record. That has occurred. The commission has looked at all of those comments in contemplation of a final rule. Ultimately, the evidence submitted in this docket not only highlighted the need to establish clear reporting requirements for long-term resource planning, it revealed the need for a more streamlined process that integrates not only energy efficiency, but all demand-side management and energy delivery efforts in resource planning process. That's been a priority as we move forward to make that clear in the rule. The final rule that we have satisfies every one of those needs. I want to stress again, I don't know if that's a real word, but I want to stress again the fact that many of the comments that were provided have been adopted. And we appreciate the time that parties have taken to be involved. We've tried our best in this final rule to take those into consideration and to move with the good ideas that have been put forward. It also, excuse me, the final rule we have satisfies those needs. It also incorporates and reflects the input of nearly every single party in this docket. The final rule takes into consideration and implements and reflects input of nearly every party. That ensures there will be a transparent process in which stakeholders are allowed a reasonable opportunity to participate while still providing a workable framework for utilities to maintain control of their ultimate resource planning decisions. I would also add that nothing in this process prohibits or encumbers anyone from being able, the staff or others, to speak to issues, to file comments to issues, to raise the attention of the commission on issues, and continues to allow that full and very transparent process. In addition, the final proposed rule folds the broader umbrella of distributed energy resources and demand-side management efforts, which include energy efficiency specifically, into the resource planning process, and explicitly recognizes and values them as resources for planning and cost recovery purpose. This is a major improvement over the current Rule 29, which fails to unite and integrate energy efficiency and long-term resource planning, something that has been, I think, a much-needed amendment to clean that up and to clear that up and to give a true picture of where these resources, how they can play a role as we go forward in planning. Of note, I believe it also be appropriate to order that this docket automatically be reopened to consider the efficacy and fairness of the IRP rule, to revise or modify the rule as necessary after 6 years or the completion of 2 full rounds of the IRP process. course, during that period, there will be plenty of opportunities to comment. The commission retains every single syllable of jurisdiction and enforcement in making sure that our rule is enforced, which is still today subject to penalties and subject to an order of the commission that would go forward. Are there any comments from commissioners before we vote? From Mr.
One
Britton.
quick one, I would just like to say this rule is certainly a big step forward, but, and we certainly have had plenty of input, but there's still some issues with it, and therefore I will be voting against that. But overall, we have made strides forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. With that, I move the adoption of the proposed order modified in Rule 29 to establish the integrated resource plan and annual energy efficiency delivery reporting requirements. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Britton. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Ayes have it. We'll move then to item 3, discussion and possible action on the order opening a docket and requiring submission of action plan, Piney Woods Country Life School. Ms. Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What we have here is another situation where Piney Woods operates a master meter gas system for its own use. The Pipeline Safety Division uncovered several compliance issues that were brought to the attention of the school back in August, and Mr. Cotton sent a letter identifying those issues. To date, there's not been any response to the letter. So what we have done is opened a docket, an investigation docket, and in the order also require Piney Woods to respond to that letter and present like an action plan within 15 days.
All right.
For resolving the compliance issues.
Thank you very much. And I see Mr. Cotton's in the audience. If commissioners have any questions for him, are there any questions related to that? If not, do we have a motion to approve item 3 as presented in regarding Piney Woods Country Life School? So moved. Motion by Commissioner Britton, second by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Item 4, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2019 NC 138, Mississippi Public Service Commission versus Inbound Fetching. That's a heck of a name. Order imposing a civil penalty by default. Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, Commissioner. This action was commenced on August 28th, 2019. Proper service was had on the defendants on September 23rd, 2019. The defendants have failed to respond to the complaint, and a sufficient amount of time has passed to warrant the imposition of a civil penalty by default. In all, the complaint alleged 72 violations of the Mississippi Telephone Solicitation Act, and the proposed order details each violation. The motion before the commission is that the maximum penalty allowed by law be imposed for each violation for a total of $360,000.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Any questions on this item? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve item 4 as presented. So moved. Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Is there any other business coming before the commission? Seeing none, we stand adjourned. 8 minutes. That's pretty fast.